With fall seeding coming up very soon, one of the most critical things is going to be getting your water right. In this video, I'm going to talk to you everything about water, how much water your lawn's going to need, how often you're going to need to water, and how to make sure your lawn's getting the proper water. So let's get out of the weeds. So here in the past week, I had a company come out and install an in-ground irrigation system. So if you've been following along with the channel, you've probably seen where I had my sprinkler set up, where I had a bunch of different sprinklers all throughout my backyard trying to give my lawn adequate water. The problem was I was trying to do all this during summer, so the results really weren't good, and my wife wasn't really happy with a bunch of sprinklers sitting out. So we put the investment in to get an in-ground irrigation system. And so as I show you here on the screen, this is what the lawn looked like kind of in the middle of them getting everything down. You can see a lot of pipes sticking up out of the ground, and just where they were digging a lot of trenches and getting all the pipe laid in preparation for the in-ground irrigation system. And so I'm going to show you here, this is what my lawn looks like now as it's complete. So you can see I got a sprinkler here. You can kind of see how the lines were run. Sprinkler there, over across, and then a sprinkler over there by the mailbox. As it went underneath the sidewalk, you can see kind of over here, and then it follows itself all the way back here. And you can see getting an in-ground irrigation system did a lot of damage to the ground. There's your backflow device that they had to put in. This is where they're going to open and close your system each and every year, be able to blow out your lines before winter and you get freeze. And so anytime you get an in-ground irrigation system, you're going to have one of these backflow devices there. Then you got another valve box over here, and it runs all the way down. And so all around the side, I have sprinkler heads right here on the side of the lawn, kind of all the way over, working their way back to the back. As I'm here in the back lawn, you can see kind of lines run on both sides. And then I got another valve box here. One of the things they're wanting me to do is to make sure I'm running this. In some of these areas, it's kind of hard to see, but it's kind of raised up from where it was. So they said they wanted me to water and things would kind of start settling back down because things have been so dry. It's really humped up where all the trenches are. So you can kind of see how the lines were run if you just kind of follow the dead lines all throughout the grass. And so this is what it looks like, all officially completed. Lawn still looks bad, but that's about to change here in the coming weeks. And then you get over to this side, you can see I got more lines coming out to sprinklers, and then there's sprinklers on both sides of the yard. And then it kind of goes all the way down until you get over to here, and there you got another valve box. So just know, if you already have a nice established lawn, getting an in-ground irrigation system is really going to disturb a lot of things. They got heavy equipment on there kind of putting these trenches in and stuff, and so your lawn is going to take some damage. The one thing, if you have a nice established lawn, the one thing you want to do is water after it gets put in. Try to help the lawn kind of heal and recover up. For me here, I'm getting ready to plant pretty much all new lawn pretty much over my entire yard, so I'm not really as worried about the aesthetics of it right now, because it's not going to look good either way. And so with that, that's my in-ground irrigation system. And now, if you don't have an in-ground irrigation system, even if you are just using sprinklers and are setting up multiple sprinklers, these steps are going to be very much the exact same to make sure your lawn's getting the right amount of water. So starting out, how much water do our lawns need? Typically with our cool season lawns, our lawns are going to want between 1 inch to 1.5 inches of water every single week. Now, the best method of this is obviously going to be rainfall. If you can get that much rainfall, which a lot of times we'll get in the spring, that's going to be great. But what you don't get in rainfall, to keep your lawn looking its best, you're going to want to supplement what you don't get with rain with irrigation, whether through an in-ground irrigation system or a sprinkler. So once you start at that basis of 1 to 1.5 inches of water each and every week, you then need to figure out how often you need to water and how much you put down each time you water. So to kind of understand this, you want to understand what's best for your grass. Now, a lot of people like to go and just, hey, I'm watering every day. It's in summer, it's hot, let's just water every day. But that's not always the best method. Your grass roots in that like to chase water. So for us, we want deeper roots, deeper, healthier roots, and so you want to give deeper waterings. So typically what I would recommend whenever you're watering your grass is try to get down about 1/2 inch each time you water. So if throughout the year you kind of start with a baseline of watering 2 to 3 times a week, putting down 1/2 inch each time, you are going to be at a really good starting place for your lawn. Now, depending on how much rain you get, you may not have to water at all during a week if you're getting adequate rain. On the opposite side of that, if you're in the summer and you're getting constant 90-some degree temperatures, you're probably going to have to go above 1.5 inches a week and maybe go to 2 inches. Or maybe you're going to have to kind of do some supplemental waterings throughout the day just to try to cool your lawn down. And so you're going to have to kind of feel your lawn out and adjust from there. But if you start at that baseline 1 to 1.5 inches of water each week, you're going to be at a really good starting place. So now I'm going to go through the easiest way to figure out how much water you're getting down whenever you're watering your lawn. Now, with an in-ground irrigation system, they're broken down into zones. So for my house here, I have 6 different zones that are going to be watering each different area of my lawn. If you don't have that and you're just moving around sprinklers, then you can kind of set those up of different zones. Hey, for this time when my sprinkler's here, I'm trying to water whichever area. So pick the area that you're wanting to focus on. So now what you can do is you can go and get some different little rain gauges that I've used before, where you just stick them down in the ground. They have measurements there showing you how much water you're getting. But if you don't even want to do that, if you have tuna cans, or in this case cans of chicken, happy birthday to our daughter. So we had a lot of people over and we're eating lots of chicken, and so I got plenty of rain gauges right here, homemade rain gauges. So what you want to do with this is you can take these rain gauges and then just take a marker and a tape measure and measure 1/2 inch inside of here and mark it off. And when you do that, you're going to have, hey, this is what 1/2 inch looks like. And so then when you run whatever zone you're running or whatever sprinkler you're running, sit these strategically throughout different sections of that zone and let your water run for an extended period of time and make adjustments from there. So for example, you may have a zone where you're going to sit these out and say you just want to run it for 10 minutes. After that 10 minutes, you're going to want to see where the water level is for all of the cans that you have sitting throughout there. If after that 10 minutes, all the water in your cans is at 1/2 inch, then you know 10 minutes is right where you want to go to actually get that 1/2 inch of water. If you go and you look and they're all at about 1/4 inch, well, then you know you want to probably double it, go to 20 minutes, and that'll give you your 1/2 inch. I'm going to go ahead and get these marked, and then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you some real-time examples of it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up this zone. I'm going to let it run for 5 minutes and kind of see where I am. With this zone in particular, these aren't rotary nozzles. These are just kind of your spray nozzles. So they put down a lot of water very quickly. So typically, if you have an in-ground irrigation system, these zones here aren't going to run for very long. Because if you let them go for a half hour or something like that, they're going to be putting down a ton of water. And so I'm just going to start at 5 minutes and kind of see where I'm at from there. So you can see where the water level is there, about halfway to my mark. So I got about 1/4 inch there. So after looking at all the different cans, Each of them were measuring just about the same thing, just at or slightly below a quarter of an inch within that 5-minute time frame. So that tells me that I need to have this zone set to run somewhere around 10 or so minutes to get a ½ inch of water each and every time. Now what you'll want to do then is just repeat this process throughout each of your zones. So now that I went through how to properly water your lawn, you can implement this too in your strategy. Now the one thing that's important to note is that this strategy isn't the best one for planting new grass seed. When it comes to new grass seed, instead of having deep and infrequent waterings, you're going to want to keep it wet for the first 3 or 4 weeks until you really start getting it established. Then you can back off to the strategy that I was talking about. But for planting new grass seed, or anytime you're trying to grow grass, you want to preferably have kind of a morning watering, a midday watering, and then kind of an afternoon watering, and try to consistently keep the grass seed wet. What you don't want to do is have grass seed dry out. The number one thing that's going to ruin any kind of seeding job that you're going to do is going to be a lack of watering. And so make sure you're watering it. Now don't drown it all out and keep it like a flood or a swamp back where you're trying to grow grass, but you want to make sure that that new grass seed stays wet throughout the time for it to germinate and get established. Then you can kind of back off and start trying to establish some deep roots. And so with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time when we get out of the weeds into a beautiful lawn.